Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to ITHive.org's Saturday morning live tech show. As always, if you're watching this live, feel free to ask questions if you have any questions. That's what the original purpose of this was. And also, if you have comments or anything like that, you're watching this after the fact, you can leave them with the video, and I'll get notified and get back to you. This is episode 61, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning on Eastern Time in Canada. And as you can see, winter, December 1st. So today, for episode 61, I just wanted to recap a little bit about thoughts on economy, and also talk about a situation I ran into with a corporate client this week. And lastly, talk a little bit about security breach and, really the reality of that, and how we need to deal with that as consumers. Okay, so, let's get started. So, last week, episode 60, we talked a little bit about the economy and just my thoughts on this, and it makes sense, right? Because we're overusing the production of what the planet can keep up with. Eventually, the production and the making of products is going to be more expensive, and that activity should drop down. And we're going to get in more of an economy that is more service orientated and more centered around reusing and fixing stuff that we already have. Okay, I know from a tech perspective that is something that I'm positioning ITHive.org to fit into that new world. And so what I wanted to talk about was that, a lot of you as business owners might be producing products or selling products. It would be smart and prudent for you now to start thinking about how you can change that around, right? How you can, instead of producing new stuff, work with existing infrastructures and fixing and repairing and shift to more of a service industry. Everyone can do it, and I'm telling you, the businesses that don't plan for this today are going to fall to the wayside, right? Because we're either going to change what we do and how we measure economic growth, or we're going to end up in very, very serious trouble. So I'm hoping that the shift happens. Okay, so that was my follow-up to, whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff. And I'm happy I didn't buy a single thing. Right? No new stuff, so that's good. So the other issue was this week, I had a weird tech problem, and it's something I like about this job. But I had a corporate client. I stepped in and fill in one of my corporate clients. I go in when their tech's on holidays, and this individual, she had a problem with an Excel spreadsheet originally. She couldn't save it. And I'd never seen that issue before, right? However, when I got to her desk, okay, and what I want to point out here is that sometimes, because your computer or your technology works, doesn't mean that it's not sick, right? Things can still happen in a broken environment, and then they might produce an issue. So this client, she had on her network connection, it was a Windows machine, on her network connection, there was that little yellow triangle. I know some of you probably have seen this, right? But it indicates a problem with the communication from the machine to the outside world, or to their local network in this case. And what was really strange about this is that even though she had that warning there, and that's not a normal state, right? Things were working for her. So she had a problem, but it wasn't affecting her directly anyway, or that she could see. Now, something I always encourage my customers to do, and every opportunity I get, I'm always mentioning this to my clients, that if there is some, and okay, just to caveat this a little bit. So my clients have a regular relationship with me. I don't do one-offs. I support them, and I'm there for them when they have a question or so. And this is why, because if there's a little thing that's abnormal in your computer, right? Without a relationship with some tech organization or paying some sort of fee or so, what are you going to do? You have no one really to talk to. But that's the kind of service I offer my clients, because they can pick up the phone or send me a quick email and say, hey, there's something not right here. This is not usual what I see on my computer. Is it something I need to worry about? And then in 5 minutes we can look at it. Maybe we find a problem that was in the making, and we can resolve it and prevent any kind of issue. So back to the corporate client, she had this issue, right? It didn't have any direct effect that she could see, right? I don't know if she noticed it or not, but because she didn't reach out to the help desk to bring that to anyone's attention, right, it ended up corrupting her Excel spreadsheet. And, I know this is, so I replaced what I thought would be the issue, and sure enough, that fixed it, okay? But the damage that was done was already there. So she lost about half a day's work with a very complex Excel spreadsheet, and we have attention, right? All of that other stuff wouldn't have happened, okay? So it's something to mention to you guys. You got to be very, very careful. Just because your tech stuff works doesn't mean that it's working, right? I've said this before many, many times, but it's worth mentioning because I always see this, and that's why we do what we do, and that's why we have an ongoing relationship with our clients, so that they have that ability to reach out and to talk to us when they have an issue or whatnot. So, last subject is data breach. So, I don't know if some of you've heard or not, but the Marriott had a data breach which existed for 4 years in their system. Okay? And I got a couple of things to say about this. Again, a message that I've talked to before, but in our tech world, what a lot of businesses do is they shed their IT staff, the people, and they rely on automated processes to detect problems and to point out issues and stuff like that. Now, I use a lot of that automation as well, right? But one thing that I have learned over the years is that you can't rely on technology to manage technology. People are really your best defense. And something that I've done in my practice all the time, and I've done with my clients, is I look for trouble. I actually look for issues. And I'm certain that in the Marriott environment, if they had people that would actually had gone a step further and looked for trouble, looked for things that weren't right, and stuff like that, they would have uncovered this breach a lot earlier, right? And, so just a message out there to the people, decision makers in your businesses or so, if you're looking at cutting costs, right, be very careful what you do with your IT stuff, okay? Because, unfortunately, technology and all of that stuff is so important in our businesses, and we some ways take that for granted, right? And we tend to be dismissive and react when there's problems, right? Well, you can't be reacting when there's problems, because sometimes those problems can put your business under and ruin your reputation and hurt you financially, right? It's much, much better to be on top of stuff and actually know as a business owner that your stuff is working, right? Or that you have somebody giving you recommendations, say, what about this? What about that? Right? Have you thought of this? That's where it should be. Okay, and of course that's what we provide. So the other thing is, as consumers, so what do we do in the world of constant data breaches, right? Well, I can tell you what I do, all right? From a financial perspective and a credit bureau perspective, I have my credit, I have a monitoring service, which luckily for me, my financial institution actually provides that service to me, so I don't have to pay anything extra, which is nice, right? But I will get alerted or may be aware of if there's any kind of unusual activity on my credit file. Okay, so that's one. Credit cards, bank accounts. All my credit cards and bank accounts, any transaction that happens on those things, I get, hi Caroline, I get an email notification. So, sure, it provides a lot more email traffic, and I get a lot of email. But the thing is that I know, right? And in this world, when you have, let's say somebody has figured out how to access your bank account or so, if you don't know that, if you don't catch those weird transactions or so, and let's say that goes on for a month or 2 months or whatever, right? Because the criminals are getting more crafty and smarter. Well, and then you bring that situation to your bank later. Hey, this has been happening, right? Well, they're less likely to be sympathetic with you and help you, right? But if you notice strange activity and you're addressing that with your financial institution in real time, they're a lot more likely to help you and even credit back that loss. Because I think in the eyes of the financial institution is they want consumers to be aware of what's going on, right? Because they too themselves know that, they can put all the security they want in place, but unfortunately the reality of the world is that very often the bad guys are ahead of us. They're ahead of us good guys. And if you don't understand that and really get a handle on that, and you want to live in complacency, well, you're opening up the door to end up in trouble. So, just to recap, set up email alerts on all your bank accounts and all that stuff, and your credit cards, so that you know what's going on. Look at your financial accounts once a week. We do this once a week, both on the business side and the personal side, and I scrutinize every single transaction on top of the email alerts. So I'm in the loop, and I'm aware of these things, and that's what's important, right? So, and then from a business perspective, of course, secure things, right? And seek out professional services, right? If you run a business and you don't have an IT, a regular IT service that is attached and actively working with your business, you're running a risk, right? You're running a risk. And so you should seek that out. All right. I think that is the end of this episode 61. Encourage you all to, go to our Facebook page, like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all that stuff. I've never done this before and asked people to do that, but it would help us, and hopefully we're helping you. Okay, all right, that's it for episode 61. We will talk next Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning, as always, for episode 62. And as always, if you want me to talk about something or subject matter, so let me know. We'll do that. Okay? Anyway, talk to you all later. Have a good time, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week. Don't get too cold for us in Canada.